So here's my issue here. Had the defendant allowed the plaintiff to go ahead and install the ventilation system with her contractor, that could have worked. Yeah. And the lease wouldn't have been terminated early, and she wouldn't have to be responsible for the expenses and losing money because she could no longer work. So I'm stuck.
I think it comes down to credibility. Perhaps more accurately, plausibility.
Okay.
She says she found a guy that could do the work and solve the problem. Defendant claims, no, he wasn't going to do it that way. Somebody is not accurate here. If it's true that she found the guy that would ventilate it out, that would have avoided any problem. Then I think she should succeed. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, if he's telling the truth that that wasn't it and she was trying to save money, because it would have been easier to just pump it up into...
It's a big difference.
So then becomes, what is the responsibility of the landlord here? Doesn't he have some kind of responsibility to ensure that what he's renting to this person is a suitable place?
For that space.
And that she doesn't have to, all of a sudden, 6 months down the line, incur this incredible expense? Wouldn't we put the burden on him?
Look, I think this is an unfortunate one because I think it's one that could have been easily resolved with a little bit of better communication. Because I think it's undisputed that at least the landlord had a solution to the tune of $2,100, which is more than $800. But $2,100 is far less than the damages that the plaintiff incurred. And somebody could have borne a much smaller expense to solve this problem.
And you know, you pointed out repairs are the responsibility of the tenant with the approval of the landlord.
Yes.
Now, wouldn't it be fair to say that if the landlord said, look, it's going to cost you $2,100 to meet my approval, and you got somebody who says, well, it's going to cost $900, the landlord has the right to say, wait a minute, I'm more comfortable with this guy.
I'm not even sure any of that was clearly communicated. I don't believe that these folks sat down and said, well, we have a solution for $2,100, but regardless, we're here.
So you don't think she met her burden?
Well, I'm not so sure, because I think that the legal issue we have to decide is whether or not there was grounds to terminate her lease agreement early. And I gather from the defendant that his reason for terminating the lease early was because she created a nuisance in the form of this excessive smell. So then the question becomes, what do we do if there was a way available to both of them to avoid this nuisance and nobody took it? Does that burden fall on the landlord? Or does
that's the question
Right.
for me. And I think that it does fall on the landlord because he had other salons in his building. They were
Should
hair
have known
salons.
better.
He should have known the nature of her business. He is the landlord. He runs this commercial space. He listed a number of different tenants in different businesses. So if I went in there with a nail business, I'm not going to know to ask about ventilation. I'm just not. I'm going to fall on the landlord to say, what kind of business are you trying to run? Oh, nails? Well, what does that entail? I tell him, and he tells me what my responsibilities would be. I think it was on him to inform her, well, listen, you may need to have a ventilation system.
I'm inclined to agree that the burden is on the landlord.
Well, I don't know if we've convinced Judge Juarez.
No, I think you have. I think I do believe that the smell constituted a nuisance. The landlord had a duty, and there was an easy way to remedy the nuisance.
And more importantly, in order to remedy the nuisance, she would have had to put a hole in his building. That's something she needed his consent for and approval for. So it was his responsibility to be done. So I will agree with you.
I think
What's the damages?
Yeah, the damages, though.
The plaintiff has proven she did a wonderful job with her salon and items that can't be transferred to a new location.
Yeah.
And so therefore she should recover that as her damages.
Yeah.
And based on the bank records and the receipts that we received, she has established that $5,000 loss.
We have a verdict.
This court is again in session.
Okay, so we have reached a unanimous verdict in this case. We are ruling in favor of the plaintiff today. Mr. Johnson, the reason why we're rendering a verdict in favor of the plaintiff is because, as you know, a landlord who's running a commercial space, it was your responsibility to understand the purpose of any business that is going to rent a space in your building. And knowing that she is running a nail salon and there may be fumes, given the fact that you've had salons in your building, that ventilation could be an issue. And to have that at least be a special stipulation in your lease to at least give the plaintiff some awareness of her responsibilities with regards to that. So that is why we have rendered a decision in the amount of $5,000 in favor of the plaintiff, and that is the verdict of the court today.